From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, making it easier to get from one point to the next on foot. How it's all part of a plan to keep COVID-19 from spreading in students. And it may be a convenient way to pay, but you need to hear these details before fully going into a cash app.
Topping our lineup, Mississippi is the first state to lift a statewide mask mandate. We're taking a look at what comes next for the rest of the country and what medical experts say it will take for us to no longer need masks. And the pandemic is making a trip to the dentist unaffordable for many people. Why that could be impacting more than just dental health. And what does the Fed cutting interest rates mean for you? We have a reality check with holiday shopping deals starting this month.
IPS is placing crossing guards at schools with the busiest intersections. As WRTV's Rafael Sanchez reports, this move is part of the school system's overall plan to limit the spread of COVID-19.
The corner of New York and Linwood is where kids and safety also intersect, outside of Emerson School 58. So push the button to walk. This is one of the many intersections which IPS will add a crossing guard to. In fact, it will get two, as the district encourages families to walk their children to school.
The main goal really is to create social distancing on buses. We need to get our bus counts down. 12
other schools like Thomas Gregg Neighborhood School on East Michigan Street will get a crossing guard. This site will get one.
An actual person that's in your line of sight with a red stop sign and a yellow or orange vest. So that's a very visual reminder to stop and obey the law.
The overall goal is to get about 2,000 kids who live within a mile of their neighborhood school to skip the bus.
My message would be that it is safe for students to walk to school. They're in these neighborhoods all the time. This is where they're growing up. They can proactively take some measures such as walking with their student, having a neighbor walk with their student, having groups of students walking together and come to school, get to this particular point where someone can professionally help them cross the street.
Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
And thank you, Rafael. This kind of day where you have a jacket in the morning and then you don't need it in the afternoon. Let me take you out to Putnam County. You can see a little vibrant color there. This is on campus at Greencastle on the left-hand side there. A little punch of reds and yellows showing up. That becomes more vibrant as we continue the swing from cool in the morning to mild in the afternoon. And we certainly have some big temperature ranges ahead. As you can see, temperatures there in the 60s. 64 right now along the Wabash River, anywhere from Lafayette to Terre Haute. 65, that in Muncie. Metro area temperatures in the low 60s. That wind will help keep temperatures from falling off too much tonight. They're out of the south at about 10 miles per hour. Temperature should be around that 40-degree mark first thing in the morning. Look where we're headed tomorrow. Sunshine will carry the high temperature into the low 70s, and that's the beginning of a trend. I'll finish the trend for you coming up.
The president's received at least 8 different medicines and supplements since he tested positive for COVID. Several are new and approved under emergency or compassionate use orders, including Regeneron's antibody cocktail. It uses lab-created COVID-19 antibodies to boost the immune response. Now, a late-stage trial that has not been peer-reviewed yet suggests that the cocktail is safe and appeared to reduce symptoms.
None of the other medicines that he's been given, whether it's remdesivir or more recently dexamethasones, none of them have actually been shown to have direct antiviral activity. That is, they don't lower the virus levels directly.
Regeneron's founding scientist says that they are getting more requests now, but compassionate use is not intended for widespread distribution. The FDA would have to grant emergency use authorization.
Of course, we all know when you're fighting a viral disease and it's a race between the virus taking over and your body beating it, dropping viral levels would be a great indicator that the battle is going in the right direction and that the patient is winning.
The president also took a steroid called dexamethasone. It's used to treat inflammation and is proven to help people breathe when they need oxygen.
For patients who are hospitalized on ventilators or getting oxygen, it was extremely effective in helping them walk out of the hospital under their own power.
Meanwhile, the First Lady, who also tested positive, tweeted today that she is feeling good and will continue to rest at home. All right, let's start the news feed. Lawmakers testing positive is delaying work on another stimulus bill. 3 GOP senators have tested positive for the virus. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the chamber will be out until October 19th. Business experts are worried about what a second wave of COVID can mean for the economy. More than half polled by the National Association for Business Economics see a second wave as the most serious threat, followed by Congress's inability to reach a deal on a new stimulus plan. The World Health Organization says it believes 1 in 10 people have been infected by coronavirus. That is more than 20 times the amount of confirmed cases around the world. All right, next in our lineup, Mississippi is the first state to lift a statewide mask mandate. We're looking at what comes next for the rest of the country.
We are all being encouraged to get our flu shots this year, and the Marion County Public Health Department's next flu shot clinic is Wednesday. It goes from 9 to noon at Old Bethel Church on East 21st Street on the far east side of Indianapolis. You do not need an appointment. Masks are required. Flu shots through the health department are $20. Children younger than 2 years old get vaccinated for free. Medicare and Medicaid are accepted.
Mixed messages continue on masks. Mississippi's become the first state to lift a statewide mask mandate. Cities and towns can put their own rules in place, and the governor did say that facts and data show that masks work. Mississippi is requiring them at certain events, including the state fair that starts this week.
I suspect that Mississippi will see an increase in cases if people stop wearing face coverings.
Infectious disease experts remind people just because an order may be lifted does not mean they should stop wearing masks.
We'd have to have an effective vaccine that prevented people from getting infected as well as prevented them from getting severe disease, that we had adequate testing capacity so that people could know their status and they wouldn't go out into public if they were positive. I think short of that, masks are going to be one tool that we have to continue to use. And many people are going to get accustomed to masks, and they're going to realize that masks also likely have some impact on other respiratory viruses. So we may see mask wearing become much more common in the United States, similar to what it is in some Asian countries because of the value that people are gaining from them.
New research on homemade cloth masks found they expel invisible cotton fibers into the air. It's unknown if those fibers can carry infectious viral particles, which does drive home the point of washing any cloth facial coverings. Make sure you do that regularly. Now, grocery store employees are frontline workers in this pandemic. Now, applications for a relief fund for them is on hold because so many people are applying. United Way and Kendall Jackson started the Grocery Workers Relief Fund. It is for anyone who works at a grocery store, and it's giving out $250 per person on a gift card. Workers will be connected with 211 Social Services Helpline in their area if they have any other needs. It opened for applications on October 1st on the United Way's website, but now it will be closed until November 1st because of the high demand. Now, we do have more to get to in our lineup today. The pandemic is making it harder for people to afford a trip to the dentist. Why that could be impacting more than just dental health. Topping the news feed, a major movie theater chain is closing all of its theaters. Regal says it will do that to 536 locations nationwide. It was banking on a new James Bond movie to bring people back, but that film's been delayed to next year. It's unclear when the theaters could reopen. The cruise industry is also in some pretty rough shape. Norwegian Cruise Lines is canceling cruises through November. That's after CDC restrictions are set to expire November 1st. Carnival Cruise Lines canceled the rest of its cruises for this year. We'll spend money to make jobs. According to the International Monetary Fund, governments need to spend more money to make more jobs. It says investments in healthcare, housing, and the environment can grow economies. Well, the shopping frenzy at the outset of the pandemic gave many Americans their first taste of what it's like to not have access to basic necessities. But it's a reality that communities of color have faced for decades. Usher Qureshi caught up with one entrepreneur who's fighting for food equality.
Eggplant, green tomatoes, cauliflower.
A chance errand to Chicago's West Side taught Liz Abuno that access to groceries, fresh fruits, and vegetables was a luxury.
Now I'm on a commercial corridor in a black neighborhood. None of this stuff is readily available, and it didn't sit right with me. We have mangoes the size of your head.
The New York native and business school graduate decided to do something about it, starting a social enterprise to bring fresh produce to the neighborhood.
When I was thinking of a name for this business, I wanted something that was distinctly rooted in Black culture.
40 Acres Fresh Market is a reference to Special Field Orders Number 15. Issued by General William T. Sherman in 1865, it promised 40 acres of land and mules for freed slaves to settle in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. It was revoked months later by President Andrew Johnson.
It's a cruel irony that the descendants of this country's first farmers now live in neighborhoods where they can get nothing from the earth.
While more than 23 million Americans live in so-called food deserts, researchers say food inequity disproportionately affects communities of color.
What I see is this unequal food system in this country, and I started calling it by what it is. It's food apartheid.
Originally, Abuno started with pop-up markets and a plan to go brick and mortar. But the pandemic shifted operations. Home deliveries have more than tripled.
One thing the pandemic did was it made everybody realize what it could feel like to live with food insecurity, even if you're more affluent.
Each day, warehouse supervisor Tracy Smith goes through the online orders, selecting and hand-packing fruits and vegetables for what they call a $30 mix-it-up bag.
I just went through the line and picked what I thought went together.
A recipe card helps consumers decide how to cook the fresh produce. For now, Abuno is focused on continuing to scale up as she chips away at food inequity, one neighborhood at a time.
The consumers here deserve goods and services that are of high quality. I think that they deserve to have their dollars respected, and that's what we do.
And it's $150 for one?
Reporting from Chicago,
That's not all right.
I'm Usher Qureshi.
Money transfer apps are rapidly replacing checking accounts these days, especially for people who don't want to handle cash during this pandemic. But consumer reporter John Matarese shows us one big risk with these apps, so you don't waste your money.
Many people are dumping their bank checking accounts for money transfer apps on their phone these days. But one woman just learned these apps are prime targets for scammers. Corinthia, who asked that we not use her last name, just saw her monthly rent money and more disappear in a flash when a scammer got access to her Cash App account.
So it began with an email to me, and it said $499 was going to be withdrawn from my account.
Worried, she called the phone number in the email and got a friendly phone agent.
Told me to download this app so he can look into my account.
But that friendly agent was not really with Cash App. As soon as she opened the Cash App for him to see, he transferred $1,600 to someone in Canada.
And $4 is what left in my Cash App account now.
With so many of these scams, it turns out the victim inadvertently called the scammer thinking they were with Cash App, then gave the person their account number or let them remotely take control of their phone. Earlier this summer, Mark Fisher Googled Cash App customer service, called them, and had his account drained by a scammer.
And then I got hung up on $3,400 in Bissell.
More than $3,000 gone in a second. Cash App now states on its website, please note there are currently no phone numbers that you can call to speak with cash support. No one representing Cash App will ever ask for your sign-in code. We contacted Cash on the chance they can help Corinthia recover her money.
$1,600, that's a month's pay for me.
Remember, money transfer apps are convenient, but they don't offer FDIC insurance or a bank's protection, so be careful so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese, WRTV.
And I take you back to 16th and Georgetown, quiet at the Motor Speedway right now. But as Brad told us earlier in the newscast, 16th and Georgetown comes alive again for Moto America Superbikes starting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the weather will still be nearly perfect for that as temperatures will continue to warm up as we go through the week. Let's talk about temperature trend tomorrow. Lower 40s to start the morning, but by noon 63, and then in the afternoon we're into the 70s. Get used to this sunshine in the afternoon, then clear skies at night. That's the way it should play out here for the next several days. One change, the wind will continue to be a little stronger out of the southwest. It will gust over 20 miles per hour tomorrow. Even on Wednesday we may have 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts. Tomorrow night there will be a space station flyover. It's rather short, just about 3 minutes from 8:37 to 8:40. You'll find it above the northwest horizon at 8:37 p.m. and then it moves to about 53 degrees above the horizon. If you're not catching this right now, I'm going to go through it again tomorrow. I'll remind you, and then Wednesday there's an even better pass for the space station. Temperatures respond to that southwest wind as we get to Wednesday. That's the warmest day of the week. We take a little temperature hit as we get to Thursday, but we still hold on to that sunshine. We'll talk about other changes ahead in the forecast in just a few minutes.
Millions of Americans cannot afford to see a dentist right now. Now, it was part of a health crisis long before COVID, but now with people losing their jobs and their insurance, things are only getting worse. Chris Conti takes a closer look at why doctors are so concerned and how some are helping to step up.
How are you today, sir?
If a smile changes everything, you can understand why Anna Eubanks cares so deeply about her teeth.
Because that's part of my health, you know. That's part of your health.
But affording a trip to the dentist is often as painful as a cavity. Both Anna and her husband are among the millions of Americans who do not have dental insurance.
You do think about it. It's just you hope you never have to go there, that you never have to use it.
There were great disparities that existed in the American healthcare system long before COVID hit. The last few months have only made things worse.
You think you can put it off, and it just catches up with you eventually.
Dr. Rhonda Switzer-Nadassi oversees Interfaith Dental in Nashville, Tennessee, a nonprofit made up of dentists who volunteer their time so that people like Anna Eubanks can get care at little or no cost, a need more critical now than ever.
So there's new groups of people that, they were making it before, but they were right on that edge and are now struggling.
Here's why she says that. Since February, an estimated 12 million Americans have lost their health care coverage. Most lost their insurance when they lost their job. Compare that to the number of people without dental coverage, which is now closer to 40 million.
COVID exposed further. We are all in this together. Your health affects my health.
This clinic that typically sees about 3,000 patients a year has seen call volume increase 20%.
And we're also seeing such an increased need for people that are suffering from job loss, where they may have had 3 jobs and are now down to 1 or down to none.
Nationwide, there's also a backlog for dental care.
Is this symptomatic?
In this office alone, they were canceling 1,000 appointments a month during the shutdown, something that especially worries Dr. Switzer-Nadassi during COVID, because most dentists are also checking a patient's overall health.
Most of the people that come see us don't need just a checkup and a cleaning. Most of the time they have reached, the end of their rope of trying to find services, and what they need has become critical.
But for now, they are doing their best to help whoever they can and preserve as many smiles as possible.
It's kind of like the weather. You have to adjust yourself for that, like you got to adjust yourself to God's weather.
In Nashville, I'm Chris Conti.
Chris, thank you. And the news feed starts with the Tennessee Titans seeing 2 more cases of COVID-19. Now, a player and staff member are the only new cases that came in on Sunday across the NFL. Coronavirus cases rising in New York City again, and the mayor now closing non-essential businesses, public and private schools in parts of Brooklyn and Queens. The plan is expected to start Wednesday. Cargo airlines are making plans to deliver as many as 20 billion doses of COVID vaccines. Now, it is a challenge because shippers have a lot of unanswered questions about moving the medicine. Right now, the delivery schedule assumes the first batch will be ready during peak shipping season over the holidays. Scientists are inching closer towards a COVID vaccine. Infectious disease experts say sticking to clinical science is key for a safe and effective vaccine, and that takes time. Now, the swine flu vaccine was quickly put on the market, but they say we shouldn't expect the same here.
The difference is we already had decades of history of flu vaccines and their safety. That's a different ballgame than starting a vaccine against a totally different virus.
Public health experts say it is possible a vaccine could be out by the end of this year. Now, finally in our lineup today, what does the Fed cutting interest rates mean for you? We have a reality check with holiday shopping deals starting this month. Retail credit card APRs have not changed, despite the Fed slashing interest rates to near 0 this year. This is from a new report by creditcards.com. Store-only cards have the highest interest rate at nearly 30%. Now, that's the case for a few jewelers, Discount Tires, and Big Lots, which sells furniture and appliances.
They're kind of preying in some cases on people who are really desperate to buy something, but may not have the money for it. So it's really all about risk management.
The survey found more than 43% of people have impulsively applied for a store card at checkout. That phenomenon may change this holiday season when much of the shopping is expected to be online.
It might be less of an issue this year, although who knows? Maybe the shoppers that are in store are going to be peddled these even more aggressively. So it's something to watch for.
Store credit cards can be worth it if you pay your bills in full to avoid interest and you're loyal to a certain retailer. That's especially true for cards that offer 5% back on everything you buy. Amazon, Walmart, Target, and a few clothing stores offer those kinds of rewards. Now, if you're just signing up for an initial discount, don't waste it on a small purchase. Remember, a credit card is different from a free loyalty program, so you might be getting into something that could hurt your credit score. Well, some excitement out of the National Zoo. It is a boy. Yeah, the Smithsonian's National Zoo announcing the sex of the new baby giant panda by revealing a blue painting created by its dad. Now, they have to do a genetic test because male and female cubs look the same. Now, zoo staff say he is healthy. The cub born 6 weeks ago is the third boy for the mother. With COVID and flu season plus the upcoming holiday rush, grocery stores are planning ahead to help avoid this. Yeah, bare shelves. Tomorrow, what they're doing to make sure they have what you want, even if there's a run on food again.
There are some big ups and downs in the 7-day forecast. Warmest day ahead, 79. Coolest morning at 42. I'll match those with a